I love it. How many booms are we getting? Oh, a ton. I love it. All right, awesome, everybody. Okay, now we're gonna get started, okay? And today we're gonna do crack a lot of cases on how to solve pain, and I'm gonna call it Dr. House style, and we're gonna bring down the house, okay? And I know a lot of the alumni that are here have had their pain issues solved. So first thing first, I want to know if you're an alumni, what pain issue was resolved for you, or what major health obstacle was resolved for you during our program. I would love to see, I would say, love to have shout out to some of the alumni that are here, and what problem was solved for you. Okay. I think it's really important for everyone to understand here that all of us have had health obstacles. All of us on a health journey. I was there, right? And all of us have felt alone in that journey and haven't felt supported or heard. And so I also find it that it's sometimes hard to even believe. Can I look at the volume and who's on that? Making sure. Yeah. So I need someone to manage the muting. All right. I want everyone to, what was I saying? I want everyone to know that there's also a key to success. There's a roadmap to success. There are ways to there's an order, there's a system, and there's a way to solve any medical problem. And sometimes it's hard to even believe that your problem can be solved and that you can get better. And that's why for me, it's really important for people who are successful at turning it around to share that they have been, because we need proof, we need evidence. That something works. And I would love, as we go into this live and as we're going to solving pain for people, that any of the alumni here, you're my student teachers. And so what I want to have you guys to do is, as alumni, pay it forward. So if there is a question in chat that you guys can answer with your own experience and with your own road to success, type it in chat. Type it in chat and be my student teachers in chat. And it's important for people to know that you're an alumni, so make sure you put an A in the front, A dash, and then your name. If you can do that, that'd be thrilling. Oh gosh, I see it. Lori, Tracy, Carrie, oh my gosh, Shafali, Amy, Alice, we could change your name. You're an alumni, almost A. I love that. It's like the almost famous. Was that Jill? Was it Jill? Jill, you can put A in front of your name. Those of you who are currently in one of the programs, you could already put a big old A next to your name. I love it. Almost A, Jill, like almost famous. I love it. All right, everybody, thank you so much. All right, now we're going to get things started, okay? I just wanted to give you guys a quick wave. Emma Fleming was interviewed by me and Anne, and we'll do a quick spotlight on her. Alumni Emma Fleming. Some of you guys know her as an interview that we recently just did 3 weeks ago, where you almost spit out your drink, Emma.
Not my best moment, no.
No, it was your best moment because we made a GIF out of it and we shared it all over social media.
Well, I saved it on my phone. I love that GIF.
Well, I wanted to share with you guys. I just wanted to do a quick intro in case you guys missed her interview. I interviewed Emma like 3 weeks ago, and it was about her turnaround from POTS. And you yourself have dealt with chronic pain. And so I just wanted to give people a perspective that even impossible to solve problems can be solved. Because where were you at right before the program, like 6 months ago?
Bedridden with severe pain. Pain levels didn't go below a 7.
Yeah.
And now they don't go above a 2. I went on a 2.8-mile walk last Saturday. That was my big win. It's crazy.
I love it. I love it. And Emma I always remember your story where you said that every morning when you woke up, what you saw hanging on your wall was a cane.
Yeah.
At the
I'm in
age
my bed right now. I had a hook that I hung my cane on so that I could always have access to it when I got out of bed in the morning. And I think it was week 7 or 8 of the program where I took the hook off the wall. I put my cane in my closet, and I now have my dream board of all of my goals of what I'm going to do now that I don't feel like crap all the time. And now that's what I see when I get out of bed every morning.
Wait. I know your room's probably messy. Can you turn your camera to show everyone your dream board?
Yeah, hold on.
Let me see.
There we go.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Dream board. Out of that, what's already come true already? You're only like 2 months out of the program.
Well, I am already planning a travel trip to visit my parents, internationally. I have started working on the true polyglot. I started studying Korean again. Being more physically fit, all those walks you've seen me posting about, I'm sewing again. So we've got little bits from all over that's coming true.
Boom.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody, if you can, let's celebrate Emma's win and put a boom in chat for Emma. Everybody, okay, let's celebrate our wins together. Her path to success and how she got there. We have done an interview with her on social media. If you're interested, we can always, thank you. Thank you, Emma. Thank you. I want you guys to know she's my student teacher tonight, and she's going to be sharing some links in chat as we go through, and there's some appropriate resources for you guys. She has volunteered to be our link sharer and student teacher in chat. So Emma, thank you so much. You rock. And she's like, with my head, with my beanie and swollen eye and everything today. I love it. Thank you so much. Love it. All right. And what I would love to do is, before we get started, I would love every single alumni that has a win that relates, any win that you have, just type the word win and then put what it is that you've experienced just in the last month. What is a win that you've already experienced, and what is that win? Type it in chat. I just want to get a sense of where everybody's at from the alumni right now. That'd be really awesome. Okay. And then those of you who are not alumni, get ready. Okay. Because I'm going to be asking you to type the answer to this question. So you go to your keyboard and get ready to type this in. I want to know what your biggest health struggle, like we're focusing on pain today. Like I can solve any medical mystery, but today we're focusing on pain. I want to know what is your biggest pain point, meaning like where do you hurt? Okay, what is your top pain areas, why, or reasons for it? And that's your biggest pain obstacle. Put it in chat, get ready to type in chat 1 to 3 things. 1 to 3 things, get ready to hit send. Not yet though. I want to take a quick look. Some of the alumni wins. Shafali says, no puffy face and I'm taller. Really, Shafali? And Lori says, brain fog, so much better. Oh my gosh, I love this. And you said no more pain. Auntie, is that who I think? Is that our alumni, Ann? I didn't see a capital A in front of it. And if it's you, I'm going to have you unmute. If it's the Ann, I think you are. Northern Cal, Ann?
Yes.
It is. I love it. Okay, so Auntie, I'm just going to spotlight you really quickly. No more pain, no more joint pain. So I just want you to give me like a 1-sentence synopsis. What kind of pain were you in before you started with Transform?
I had arthritis pain.
Osteoarthritis, regular osteoarthritis, correct?
Yes.
Which a lot of people think it's unsolvable. So I want to ask, can you give a hint to us? What do you think is 1 or 2 things that was responsible for you? Because what level was the pain before the program on arthritis pain?
It wasn't too high. I just started getting some pain about level 4, but my doctor said 4.
4. Where is it today?
0.
0. Okay, 4 to a 0.
0.
How many people want 0? Type 0 in chat. Okay, I'm just letting you know. So can you give me 1 or 2 things that worked for you? I don't know what you're going to say. I'm literally pulling people out of the audience. 1 or 2 things.
Omega-3 helped a lot.
Supplementation. Who wants to learn about supplementation? So omega-3 is high dose. Number 2?
I'm not sure. It just disappeared.
Okay. She's not sure, but it just disappeared. Well, let's get sure. All right, Anne, thank you for sharing that. And then I already see Joyce. Joyce says she already has a 1. She's feeling less fatigued. I've got Miriam who says no pain, no brain fog, POTS under control. Miriam, can you unmute? I'd love to spotlight and ask that question because it's way beyond pain. You said no pain, no brain fog, POTS under control. I know we're not here to deal with something like POTS, which we do for breakfast, but Miriam, can you tell us where you were? By the way, what week in the program are you, Miriam? How many weeks have we been working with you?
Think I'm on 8 because accelerator call was this week.
Okay, 8 weeks. Where do you think your pain was from?
I'm gonna say now that it's gone, probably a 9.
So
And
it was
it's
a
probably, and I'm probably out of 1, maybe 2 on a bad day.
Okay, 9 to a 1 to 2. But importantly, it's just so we could educate our audience here. Why do you think you were in pain? What was the cause of your pain?
Mine was blood sugar.
Well, no. What was the underlying diagnosis or pain? What was
Oh,
the
fibromyalgia was
fibromyalgia?
my pain.
Okay. If anybody's struggling with fibromyalgia, type fibromyalgia in chat. Okay. So fibromyalgia is another one of those diagnoses, an almost trash term. A lot of doctors don't even believe fibro is real, even though it is. And so your fibro pain went from a 9 to like a level 2 on a bad day now over just a period of 8 weeks. What do you think was the biggest reason for you?
I think the blood sugar, my diet.
So blood sugar swings.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna get into that. Okay, I love that, Miriam. Thank you so much. And then Wendy Ingram is dealing with leaky gut, candida infection, eczema all gone, knee pain is gone, insomnia resolve. How does sleep related? I'm gonna trigger this in you guys. How many of you guys know or think that your sleep, your insomnia is linked to the reason why you have so much pain? Right? I'm just asking, right? Kristen said back, leg, need to. Okay, that's his current symptoms. All right, so what I want to do now is I'm going to ask all of you I want to get to know you. Tell me what your biggest pain obstacle is. Why do you think you're in so much pain? Tell me, like just like Miriam just shared is from her fibro, right? With Anne, it was for her osteoarthritis. How many have neuropathy, right? How many have irritable bowel syndrome and you're having a ton of bowel pain? I would love to get to know what's going on. Why? Okay, thank you. Okay, so Kathy, we see a bunch of fibromyalgia with Shelly, and Shelly's in our program right now.
Mm-hmm.
Dawn?
I was wondering if we wanted to hear, while everybody's putting that in the chat, I just saw a comment that Cindy put in the chat up earlier that said that she went to the grocery store. She hadn't been to the grocery store in 20 years.
Boom.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
She hadn't been to the grocery store in 20 years.
Yeah.
And she went the other day.
Yeah.
Like she's done amazingly well. So I just wanted to comment on that while everybody's putting their pain conditions into the chat.
A lot of people are saying fibromyalgia. How many of you guys with fibromyalgia have been met with doctors who don't believe fibro is real? Like, I'm serious. Type that in chat. I want to know how many people have had that experience. Yeah.
Wow. Nerve pain, fibro, MS. Yeah, a whole bunch here.
Migraines, headaches, Stacy. I see that. And Alice, you're the one with nerve pain. And Alice just started our program about, like, I think literally very recently, MS pain. Kimberly said low back pain, neck pain, arthritis. Okay. Lupus, Charlene, I see it. Okay. So there's autoimmune issues here. Okay. So one of the things that we should discuss, and I'm going to ask you guys, how many of you guys think that your pain syndromes are actually like, some people have a diagnosis, some people don't, right? How many of you have a pain where you have pain, but you've never received a diagnosis or had trouble getting a diagnosis? Because I do want to talk a bit about why sometimes it's so hard to get a diagnosis for some of these pain syndromes that we have. Who doesn't have a diagnosis? Stacy, you don't? Lisa, IBS with constipation. So Stacy, you said me. So you have not been able to get a diagnosis for your pain right there. Stacy, Frayne is looking for one. Kay is, this is me, no diagnosis. And Annie says, no diagnosis yet for 15 years. I'm going to ask Annie to unmute, okay? No diagnosis yet for 15 years. And we're going to highlight Annie, okay? Let's get Annie. Okay, Annie. Let's have you unmute. She has grass behind her. She looks like ants. Have you guys seen the cartoon Ants? I'm expecting a giant tennis shoe to come in behind her. Donna, right? Can Annie unmute so we can actually talk to her? If not, I'm gonna have to pick somebody else, but because I want to hear. Annie?
Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I pushed it. Sorry.
No worries. Annie, 15 years. Can you tell me a bit more about this, which is what kind, you've had obviously a bunch of testing. Do they have any idea, or do you have any idea what's causing your pain?
Yeah, I firmly believe it has to do with toxins in the environment and just in general. Sorry, I'm in a room and my daughter's behind me. And my nutrition. And when I was in high school, I ate, well, first of all, my mom smoked heavily when I was in
Well, so what
utero.
I'm hearing is the question I'm asking is really if there's any working diagnosis for your pain. It sounds like no, and it sounds like
No.
the second piece is you think that it definitely has something to do with the food, nutrition, and environmental toxins.
Yeah, and my
right.
mom, well, yeah, my mom never breastfed me. So
Okay.
between her smoking, never being nursed,
Mhm.
never having proper nutrition growing up,
Yeah.
and then as I grew older, I learned more about nutrition. But in the
Okay.
meantime, yeah, and so it's been really hard to stay off things like gluten, dairy, sugar, chocolate. Everything sets me off.
So I hear
So
a question here around what does food and nutrition, and thank you, Annie, and we're going to go ahead and mute just so
Yeah.
I know you have somebody in the background. And good, thank you, Annie. So how many of you guys know that food is absolutely related to your pain? Right? Because I would love to have a conversation with you guys about how food has played a role in pain. Charlene, definitely, right? Luis, vagus nerve pain. Right? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Some of your names look really familiar. I've seen you guys have reached out and have talked to us before. I know you, just so you guys know. I read all the comments on YouTube, on Facebook, and those of you who had calls with us, I have seen the notes and I know you guys, I know what's going on. All right. So Shafali is sitting here saying, definitely there's a role of food pain in your, the role of connection between food and your pain. Shafali, I'm going to actually ask you to unmute. And I want to ask, like real life boots on the ground. You say, yes, I really feel like food is related with my pain. Can you share with me how so?
So whenever I ate anything that was made with all-purpose flour, not just whole wheat, all-purpose flour, I would see puffiness on my face and I would get a migraine. And similar things happened. I could drink coffee, like one cup a day. It was fine. But after 10 days, I would have a flare up.
10 days later, timeline.
Yeah.
Notice that, people.
It was like as if I crossed the threshold. Like I can't handle it more. I'm sorry.
It's funny because when Shafali said coffee, I saw Annie wave her hand. I'm watching you guys. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm watching everybody. Okay. So I think so. What she's saying is a couple things. Would you guys say that one of the most confusing things about the connection food is it's connected, but the timeline is screwing with you? And the consistency that you eat the same thing and it causes pain each time is also different? Would you say the timeline or the variability in when you react to it and when you don't is confusing? If it is, type it into chat because I can answer this question and many of us can. So as they're typing in an answer, Shafali, so what week are you currently in the program?
This is my 4th week.
So you haven't even gone over your food mapping results yet. Okay.
That's next time.
Okay, I can't wait. Thank you. You're going to get answers. I'm so excited for you. Thank you, Shafali. Okay, so Lisa Carpenter says that this is very confusing, and so does Kimberly. We're going to spotlight the two of them. Variability is confusing. Timeline is crazy. Shelly Jose. So yeah, let's highlight Shelly. Let's highlight Kimberly A, who says timeline's confusing, and Charlene, who says the timing is confusing. So I'm actually going to talk those of you who are confused by this. I'm going to talk to the three of you who said this is confusing, and go ahead and unmute. Go ahead and mute. Stay muted, Shelly. Thank you, though. Make sure you're muted. Now, I want just to talk with you guys about it. I know Kimberly, Kimberly just started with us literally yesterday in the program. Shelly's been with us a couple weeks in the program. And I know timeline and digestion. Let's highlight another person, Dawn Mason. Timeline is confusing. Let's add her to the group. And they're stand-ins for you guys, okay? So I'm gonna walk it through. So a couple things is food connected with pain for you guys? Absolutely. Everybody raise your hand if it's absolutely, right? So a couple things here is, and I'm talking to you, Don, Shelly, Kimberly, is those you mentioned timeline, okay? So there's a big difference in what is called IgE allergy versus IgG food allergy, meaning there's fast allergies and there's slow allergies. Those of you with fast allergies, meaning you eat a peanut and your lip swells up, okay, type in chat IgE, Okay, because a lot of us have IgE allergies where you eat shrimp and your lip swells up, type IgE. Okay, now the response to IgE reactions, you can do a skin test, you can do a blood test, and the reactions are fast and noticeable, meaning it happens within minutes frequently. Okay, and so would you be able to figure that timeline out, Kimberly?
Yes.
Hell yes, right? So no brainer, that's not the problem here for you guys. Okay, so the next question I have is for you guys, and type in chat if you know the answer, which is, are there other antibodies that are allergic related that take slower, and it's lower different type of reaction? They're not anaphylactic shock, but they are slower to show, meaning that it can take hours for days for those antibodies to show up. And if it is, what antibody is that? Type in chat, okay? All the alumni are gonna go nuts, okay? I'm going through that. This is a very important scientific principle, everybody, that your doctors don't understand. Okay, so IgG, think about IgE, IgG, IgA. These are just different branches of the military, like Air Force, Navy, and Army. Okay, they're all Army. Okay, meaning they're all allergic related, but one is super fast, Air Force, IgE. Okay, one is going to be medium, like it. So, do you know what I'm saying? There's different timelines. So typically with IgG, what we call food sensitivities, it takes hours to days and sometimes even 10 whole days, like Shafali said, for the reaction to show up. So let's say for Shafali, she says she knew coffee was it, right? And for Shelly or Dawn or Kimberly, if you already know that something is triggering you, but you haven't had data to prove it, raise your hand. I'm curious, the three of you. Do you already suspect something? Dawn, go ahead and unmute, and then Shelly. Dawn?
Yeah.
What food is it, and what is the reaction?
Coffee.
And how long?
Oh, probably within like 20 to 30 minutes.
Right, 20 to 30 minutes, she experienced it, and what is the reaction?
I get muscle spasms and I'm running to the bathroom. Okay,
I'm gonna go ahead and mute her. Put a pin on that. Is muscle spasms and running to the bathroom to have bowel movements or gas or bloating a typical anaphylactic IgE allergy? Would an allergist be able to help you with that? Or would they think you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? That can't possibly be related to the coffee that you just drank 20 minutes ago, and every time she drank it, it happens, right? So the symptoms become confusing because they're not the same as the emergency IgE anaphylactic allergies. So as she just said, muscle spasm. Can muscle spasms and pain be an allergic reaction to food? Dawn just said yes, she just showed you. Shelly, you're next. I'm gonna ask you, what is the food and what's the time frame for the reaction?
Almonds.
And almonds. And how long after you eat almonds do you get a reaction?
It literally can be anywhere between a half hour and an hour.
Right? So 30 to 60 minutes, right?
Yep.
That's almost an hour. And what is the reaction?
I get hives.
Hives. And interestingly, with hives, most people think of that as an IgE reaction. Okay. And yet IgG can also be with hives. Any symptoms with pain that's delayed or any other symptoms from almonds that's later on that you notice?
I can't honestly give that an honest answer because as soon as I found out, I stopped eating them.
So she might be describing the IgE reaction, which we talk about minutes, and it's classic for like what we call anaphylactic type reaction, which can take under an hour, minutes for people, right? So hives is really common in that list, okay? And Kimberly, you're last but not least. When I ask you what food and what is the reaction, what is the food, Kimberly? Make sure you unmute first.
dairy products.
And what happens with dairy?
Like example, if I have, let's say, a bowl of ice cream, within less than about 20, 30 minutes, I'm ready to just pass out. Just, it's like all of a sudden I'm so exhausted. My body's just fought an entire battle. And
I love this. Okay. So I'm going to have Kimberly unmute and we're going to thank our panelists for helping us with these symptoms, because I can already tell that Kathy is chomping at the bit. Okay, because here's the thing. Okay, I started this conversation by saying that is there allergic reactions to food that can trigger symptoms of pain? And the answer is yes, right? And the pain can be, someone said swelling, someone said diarrhea, someone said someone said something else, I can't remember. But anyway, so you can eat some food and then have pain, but it's not an IgE allergy, it's a food sensitivity with IgG, which is low and slow. And I'm going to go more into this. How does IgG and food sensitivities play into pain? But I thought Kimberly's example, Kathy was going to jump into it. What kind of reaction is that? I'm going to ask all the alumni. She eats dairy. So this is to highlight the different ways with which we can react to food, okay? She eats dairy, and within less than half an hour, she gets all sorts of, what were the symptoms? Do you remember? She says she has to run to the bathroom. Kathy?
She feels like she's just waged a war. She feels tired, like she's gonna pass out. And again, if she talked to her doctor about this, they would be like, okay, that's weird. Don't really have an answer for you, right?
So is right after you eat dairy, 30 minutes later, do some people experience abdominal pain, bloating, gas, or diarrhea with it? And is that pain? The answer is yes. And I'm going to ask you guys why. Why? And a lot of people have this, including me. Okay, is it an allergic problem? Why am I reacting to food in this way? What is the problem? Oh my God, you guys are so smart. I'm gonna share.
Look at the chat.
IgG.
Nope. Digestion, lactose intolerance. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen, everybody, okay? Because the answer is super smart, you guys.
Dr. Maggie, I think you're just sharing sound. Never mind.
There you go. You guys got this? Okay. And what I'm going to tell you guys is this, is that can digestion cause, any steps in digestion broken cause pain? And the answer is yes. And what Kimberly was describing is classic, what we call lactose intolerant, which means that there's an enzyme that digests and breaks down the protein, the sugar in dairy, which is called lactose. So her inability to digest lactose causes the lactose to stay in the stomach, drawing water. The bacteria in it is trying to break it down, causing gas. So it causes pain. So can digestion issues cause major gastrointestinal symptoms like lactose intolerance? And the answer is yes. So let me show you guys something though. There's many steps with digestion that actually can cause pain, and I want to answer the pain issues. Like already, like type in chat if you already know that there is some step in digestion, or you already think, I'm not sure, but I know my digestion somehow has been a problem since a long time ago. Like what digestion problems do you think you already have? Type in chat, because I'm going to link it to pain for you guys. Okay, type it in chat. And Kathy and Jason, I'd love for you to keep an eye and tell me what's going on in chat, because I'm going to just walk you guys through really quickly, okay? So look at the first step of digestion, which is chewing your food, okay? So the one of the major reasons for digestion is as you biting and chewing on food, you're breaking food from big pieces down to really little pieces. When food is really tiny little pieces, they're really absorbable and they're low in allergy, meaning lowly allergenic, okay? So if someone doesn't chew their food, would they have very large pieces of food in their gut? Okay. If any step in this digestion, step 2 in the stomach, step 3 in the pancreas, step 4 if any of these steps don't work, are there more big particles of food in the intestines? And the answer is yes. Now remember, the more big pieces of food particles there are in the gut, the more allergy they cause, which means that they increase the allergy cells in the area that sees these big particles. And the allergy cells make what we call histamines. Histamines. How many of you guys think histamines plays a role? So I can tell you right now, whether it's a chewing problem, meaning not chewing the food, or stomach digestion with acid, meaning like acid is there to break down food into little pieces. What if you're low in stomach acid? How many of you know like fat digestion? How many of you had your gallbladder removed? Or have a family history of your gallbladder like surgery in the family? Type in chat. So every one of you can already, I can tell you right now, has a problem where one of these steps that we just mentioned is broken in some way. And then as a result, big pieces of food are sitting in your gut. Your body sees those big pieces and says, my allergic IgG team is going to see it and say, foreign, 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 red alert, make more allergic antibodies and make more histamines. Okay. Did we get this? How many of you guys now think you have a histamine issue that's linked with digestion? Type it into chat. Okay. Someone had mentioned slow motility. Yeah. Motility or high motility. Kristen, yes. Missy, yes. Okay, cool. Because if you're with me, I'm going to keep going. Okay. You got this? Leslie? Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and share this, which is, what is the role of histamines in dealing with digestion? In dealing with pain. Okay, let's go ahead and share this slide. Okay, so another point here. Okay, let's tie this together. Okay, because you hear all these words, but how does it tie together? I mean, a lot of Google research doesn't make all these connections, so I'm here to make the connections with you and your symptom. Okay, now I'm going to connect your digestion problem with your food allergy problem with your pain. Get ready for it, everybody. So those of you who says, now I'm seeing the digestion issues I've had. Well, remember, in your blood are these cells we call mast cells. Okay, mast cells are floating around your bloodstream. Okay, and these mast cells have little receptors on them, which is for things that your body doesn't like. Okay, reactive, whether it's toxins, whether it's allergens. There are a lot of cells with receptors on it for these things, right? So the cell has these receptors. You got these big pieces of undigested food particles circulating in your blood and in your gut, now in your bloodstream. Look at these little orange food particles up there, right? Imagine if your digestion is poor, there's more of those particles that are undigested, number one, right? And number two, the size of those particles and the amount of allergens on them is bigger. So would those trigger these mast cells that are floating in your blood to then make a ton of histamines? Boom. Histamines. So this is where poor digestion is the first problem, and it leads to big undigested pieces of food that are higher in allergen load, and it leads to feed these mast cells with a higher amount of these food particles, triggering, these are on-off switch. These little Y things here are on-off switch. You get one of these orange food particles on those, and boom, it's on, it sends a signal, and these mast cells cause histamines to happen. How many of you guys just got this connection between digestion and histamines? Type in chat if you're making the connection, put connection. Kristen, this makes so much sense. Wow, right?
Yeah, Kristen, I just saw you write that, and I want to affirm to everybody that what you just learned right now, nobody is making those connections, even in the holistic world, okay? We've got people focusing on all kinds of different things, but that root cause of not chewing your food or not having your food digested into these little tiny particles is the first step to everything, and it gets pushed to the side so many times. So thank you, Dr. Maggie, that you make this so simple for people to understand, because it's so important.
Well, and Dawn is talking about how my slow motility is born with it. Slow motility, like, or people with gastroparesis. Yes, I know all these things, all these terms. Gastroparesis just means your gastric muscles are paralyzed, paresis. Okay, gastroparesis, typically related to people with autoimmune attack against the muscles in the gut, the connective tissue in the gut. But slow motility, as Dawn said, she was born with it. So these are innate digestive issues you were born with, but over time they stack up to create more and more problems. So what I find is people are born with quite a few different types of digestive issues. I was born with very little to no stomach acid. I know that now, and that's why I was always constipated as a kid, right? And then what I found is that as time goes on, if that problem isn't addressed, it morphs and turns into other problems, like eventually needing a gallbladder removed, right? And Dr. Jason, you were about to say something.
Well, it's funny that you said that, because I was just going to say about the gallbladder removal. There were so many people that when you asked that, I mean, it was just the chat was lit up with, I had mine removed, I had mine removed, I had mine removed.
Ooh!
I know it's so frustrating, but the second frustrating part of that is there's no follow-up care. Nobody says, now that your gallbladder's gone, your digestion's going to be screwed up forever. Here's what you need to do. Nobody shares that. And so now we have people with broken digestion, and it leads to all these symptoms.
He said reflux and how to get off my reflux meds. How does acid? So we recently briefly touched on how stomach acid is the next step right after chewing. And stomach acid is there to sterilize, which means it breaks bonds, it breaks things down. So how important is stomach acid in digestion? And how many of you guys are on medication to turn off your stomach acid because you were erroneously told that heartburn is caused by high stomach acid? And now let's put you on a medication to shut it off. What do you guys think happens? Not even having to do with chewing, but being on these medicines to turn off the stomach acid. How does that contribute to these large particle size of the food and more food allergies and reactions? Right? How many of you have been in that boat? On the medication BS boat, put med BS, type in chat, right? And so, believe it or not, there is an epidemic of people who have food allergies, mast cell and histamine problems over the last 10 years. It's been like rising and rising now to the point where it's almost everyone we talk to now is telling us they either have a histamine or mast cell activation syndrome, which 5 years ago, nobody even heard of. But there's an epidemic of this because year after year after year of being on these medications and not having your digestion addressed, you get these really high histamine states that you guys are in right now. And I had somebody mention earlier even, and then you throw toxins and environmental allergens on top of it. So it's going to be a histamine hailstorm. Now, get ready to type in get ready to write some notes. Histamines aren't just about allergies because we're here for pain. We're here for pain. So today, let's talk about, well, these histamines, like, what do? They do so much. Histamine's not just an allergy problem. I can tell you right now, histamines, you notice right here, it says central nervous system on the right lower corner. Histamine is a brain neurotransmitter. It's a brain hormone. And Dr. Jason teaches a ton on histamines and looking at histamines as a brain neurotransmitter. It's not just in your blood, it's in your brain. What do you think happens when histamine, the brain hormone, the brain neurotransmitter, is crazy elevated because you ate almonds or you had coffee? What do you think that does? Somebody said migraine. How many people said migraines? Type in chat. Okay. All you migrainers out there, I'm ready for you. Okay. Can eating certain foods raise your histamine levels? And histamine can increase the histamine in your brain. Histamine has also what we call a cardiovascular effect. It causes blood vessels to dilate. Okay. What happens if blood vessels in your brain dilate, meaning they kind of swell up? What happens if the blood vessels dilate in your brain? Anybody know? Yeah. I'm explaining everything, right? Anybody know? Right? And then people with Chrissy with the headache, right? Louise has the POTS. And the thing is, I'm going to get to you, POTS, okay? But back to the brain and migrainers, right? Anne, right? And Anne it's an optometrist. And so when you look at, and doctors who work in optometry, and all of us healthcare providers, we're starting to make the connections now. I teach this to our certified Transform instructors. And it's the first time that they heard like, oh my goodness, histamines dilate blood vessels. So what can happen? Well, the blood vessel swells up, and you mentioned migraines. And what happens is when you understand migraines, it's your blood vessels dilating. That's the trigger. That's the cause of migraines. And I'm going to go back down further. Well, what caused the blood vessel to dilate? Histamines. So we have medication that just tries to constrict the blood vessel. So like Imitrex, some of these medications, Midrin, some of these medicines we prescribe for migrainers is to get the blood vessels to temporarily constrict, because what's causing the pain is the dilation. When a blood vessel is dilated, also it sends fluid out. It causes swelling in the area. That's why people get migraines, right? So how do we solve migraines? Right? How would you solve this problem? Excedrin has caffeine in it to constrict the blood vessel, right? Lori says don't eat. Well, you can't do that. We got to eat, but we need clarity in what we eat. How important do you guys think it would be to know that exactly which foods are your orange food particles here up on the left, because it's not all food. And Lori, there's no way in hell anyone should tell you to not eat as a way to eliminate or lower histamines. It doesn't work because you don't know what it is. You don't eat something, you have to eat more of something else.
You guys that saw the live the other night, did you see I was talking about my chronic, they're not really migraines, but I had insane headaches at the back of my neck that nobody could solve. No chiropractor, no nothing. And I was doing everything, and it was almost every day. And it turns out I had a corn allergy that was creating all these histamines and problems and things like that. And there is no way that I could have totally pinpointed that. For sure, because corn is in so many things. I had a sneaking suspicion that's what it was, because it got a lot worse when I ate a lot of popcorn. But it wasn't until I got a food sensitivity test to firmly identify that I have no pain now. None.
Right.
Zero. And I could have lived my whole life with this chronic pain if I didn't know that.
Agreed. And then somebody else, I think Stacy was the one who also said, me too. I don't know if it was me too to corn or something else. But I want to point something out here. Notice histamine causes right here on the right, inflammation. Okay. Do you know there's actually a direct pathway where histamine causes pain in muscles, tendons, joints, and nerves? So this is a completely scientific fact that elevated histamine levels will cause neuropathy pain, nerve pain to be worse. Those of you with fibro, we just talked about, will cause your fibro pain, which is in muscle and tendons, to be worse, right? And then look at right here, skin. How many people have things like lichen sclerosis? How many people have hives or things that hurt? How many people have eczema with bleeding, dry skin and bleeding, right? So can skin hurt? So histamine actually known to cause rashes, hives, also pain in the skin. How many have lichen sclerosis, right? Type it in chat. If you don't know what it is, thank goodness, right? And then notice also on the left lower corner, uterus, which means that there are studies that shows that when histamines are high, it actually can impact the hormone levels in the uterus. So that's the female womb organ. And I'm going to ask you guys, how many of you guys, when you were menstruating, was having all sorts of, menstrual related pain, cramping? How many people have endometriosis? How many people had fibroids in their uterus causing pain, right? So can hormones contribute to pain? And did histamines contribute to that? I just tied it in a bow, everybody, okay? If your hormones are out of balance, right? If you're eating food that you didn't know you were sensitive to, let's say it was Kathy's corn, there's a direct link to dilated blood vessels in her head causing her migraines. There's a direct link of elevated histamines that actually goes to her muscles and tendons to hurt and her nerves to hurt more. And then number 3, elevated histamine levels goes directly to her ovaries and uterus, causing worsening hormone imbalances, causing fibroids, her uterus to hurt. And elevated levels of hormones like estrogen can cause swelling. How many of you hurt from swelling? The swelling is so tight it hurts, right, Shelly? It's your dang hormones. And guess what's related to your food and your digestion? Ooh, okay. That was a lot. Okay. I want to say right now here, can histamine cause vision issues? Yes, because of the blood vessel, optic nerve, and also the blood vessels around the eyeball, Kristen. Good question, right? And then Stacy said, how do you get your histamine checked? You don't have to. We already know when you have these symptoms, your histamines are elevated. We got to deal with what's causing the problem, right? I already know, like somebody's like, Shelly's sitting here, I have hives, I got this, let's measure my histamines. Girl, you have red hives all over you. Your histamines are crazy ass high, right? It's the better question. So here's the thing. I want to teach you guys to ask better and better questions. And if you The quality of your life is actually defined by the quality of the questions you ask. So I understand wanting to measure histamines, right? And I'm going to tell you, it doesn't get you any closer to how to lower the histamine load in the first place. And it's not always accurate at all measuring histamines. Histamine levels don't correlate necessarily with your symptoms. Jason, you're about to say something on that?
I was just saying the histamine levels fluctuate so quickly. It's just really hard to get a really solid reading on it. Mm-hmm.
And then look at people saying like Wendy Stellwag is saying fibroids with early hysterectomy. How many of you had so much pain in the uterus area you've had to get hysterectomies? And those of you, Shelly, raising your hand with hysterectomies, right? All of you guys are raising your hand right now with hysterectomies, right? Say me, Donna, Cindy, right? Pain in the uterus, right? And instead of saying, what's the food that's causing these issues, right? What's the digestion issue causing these issues? And what's the hormone imbalance that's causing this issue? Let's just remove the uterus. And does removing the uterus change the histamine issues? So those of you who had hysterectomies, I'm asking you to play with me for a while here. Did it end your problems with pain and other health issues, or did new issues come up and other ones get worse? Everybody with hysterectomies, I need your feedback here. Prove me right or wrong, whatever. I want to show you that by removing organs and not addressing the underlying causes like digestion, histamine, food allergies, and hormones, did the surgery really end the problem or create more problems? Let's see. Issues did not get better at all, Missy. Other issues worsened. Leslie, what were they? Right? Stacy says more issues came, right? And Wendy says, now my hormones are out of whack. Well, nobody fixed your hormones, Wendy. Removing a uterus doesn't fix your hormone levels, right? So remember, your hormones are made by other organs like your adrenals, your ovaries, your thyroid, right? Nothing was done to those. We just said, oh, the uterus is the victim here because it's receiving those hormone imbalances and it's bleeding and hurting a lot. Let's just get rid of one of the victims. But let's not deal with any of the culprits. Are there going to be more victims coming up later? What were the other victims? Type in chat. Right? What were the other victims? And hey, this applies to all of you who had your gallbladder removed. Okay? So here's the thing. If you guys have had a gallbladder removed because it hurt, right? Is the surgical option of removing the gallbladder, which is the only option they have, did that solve all your pain issues? Because no one fixed the underlying problem. Do you guys know what the underlying problem with people who've had gallbladders removed? Those of you who are alumni, ready to play full out, type in chat. What do you guys think the gallbladder really plays a role in? Which step in digestion is it? Type in chat. And I know for you, the rest of you, this is new, right? Fat digestion. Great. Okay. And some of you aren't even alumni. Donna, thank you. So smart. Charlene, I love it. All right. So my question is that when you have a gallbladder removed, which I did a big live and I did a big training around fat digestion, actually. So the reason you needed your gallbladder removed was because your gallbladder and your liver wasn't good at digesting fat in the first place. So when you don't digest fat in the first place, those organs get little stones in it, sandy and stones in it, because they're clogged, they're not working well. So then over time, this lack of regular flow of bile into your gut causes tons of stuff to be stuck in the gallbladder over time. And those things can hurt and they can get infected. Now, instead of immediately, if someone had symptoms or even before, I'd be like, do you have reactions or symptoms when you eat high fat, right? Or, and separating out food allergy from digestion problems. People working with us, and you can type in chat, how quickly were you able to identify which step of digestion was broken in you and which step was it? Type in chat. Imagine you didn't even have to get your gallbladder removed and we rewind time 10 years earlier. And you could even already ask better questions and you realize, oh, wow, that step in digestion is broken. I can't digest fat very well. And you actually supported your fat digestion with digestive enzymes that contain bile salts to digest fat. Would you ever have to get your gallbladder removed? I can tell you right now, it's a 100% avoidable surgery. Now, here's the thing. They removed your gallbladder because it got so messed up that all these things were blocking it, getting infected, getting inflamed. So they said, it's too late. We're going to remove it. Get it out. Great. Okay. They got it out. Now, do you still have a fat digestion problem? And where's that problem right now after your gallbladder was removed? Where are we at fat digestion after your gallbladder removal? Type in chat. Anyone know? Your fat digestion now, it's even worse. Right? Your fat digestion, because the organ that's responsible for digesting fat is now gone. So your fat digestion is now worse. Right? And do you know what happens when you don't digest and absorb fat? Does anyone know and how that could contribute to pain? This is bonus points. Okay, I'm going to ask alumni, student teachers to jump in if you know. I know, like, yes, stinky floating diarrhea. I know that hurts. I know that hurts. Chrissy, I love it. How do you guys think poor fat digestion and even poorer after a gallbladder removal contributes to pain? Oh, wow, Charlene, that's smart. So what happens is if you don't digest, like one of the steps in digestion at the end is fermentation. Those of you who read my book, okay, we talk about this. And by the way, you guys are all going to be receiving a copy of my book, okay? But in the chapter about hormones and the gut microbiome, we talk about how one of the steps in digestion is called fermentation. But if that step is broken, then you can't ferment, you can't break down hormones. So hormones will build up. So people with fibroids and uterus problems, would it be worse if you can't digest? Any step of digestion is broken. Would your hormones be more off balance, bigger fibroids, more bleeding, more pain? Yeah, so that's great. So smart, right? So the other way that fat digestion can contribute to pain is, how many of you have neuropathy, nerve pain? Yeah, type in chat, me, nerve pain. Okay, think about your nerve cells, okay? What do you guys think on nerve cells? Do you know what percentage of it is fat? And your brain is full of nerves, okay? The reason the brain has the consistency of soft is because it's like almost all fat. So think about this. Your brain needs a healthy supply of healthy fat digested and absorbed in order to fuel its repair and healing. Same as your nerves. Every single nerve cell in your body needs that fat. The omega-3 is coming in. I need it, I need it, I need it, I need it. So if you can't digest fat well, or you've had a gallbladder surgery to remove the organ that helps you digest fat, and you don't learn about how to digest and absorb fat before, during, or even after that surgery, how much healthy omega-3s and EPA are your nerve cells getting to function and to heal?
All those fish oil, all that fish oil that Kathy loves to give people, if they're not digesting it properly, it's pointless. And that's why we start so heavily with digestion and optimizing digestion. It's so important. And not only that, it's not just the EPA and the healthy omegas. What about all those fat soluble vitamins that keep us healthy? Like vitamin A and D and E and K. If we can't absorb those fats, then we're going to have very low levels of some of those nutrients that are so important for immune regulation. That's the biggest one, I think, for this crowd is immune regulation.
Let's talk supplementation. I know a lot of you wanted to talk and learn a little bit about supplementation. So I'm going to go back to digestion and how to what's a quick fix for digestion, you know, but let's talk about, Kathy is known in our program. Everybody knows she thinks fish oil is sexy. So I would love for her to answer any of your questions about fish oil and its role in being an anti-inflammatory and for pain. And you guys can feel free to type it in. Yeah, Joyce, I have trigeminal neuralgia as well. Go ahead. And then Chrissy said, I've wasted so much money on cod liver oil supplement. Kathy, I would love for you to unmute and talk a little bit about why you think fish oil is so sexy and why, you know, the type of it and the dosing really matters.
Yeah. So oils, fat, like Dr. Maggie said, every cell in our body needs fat for the cellular membrane. And whether it's the cells in our body or our neurons, which are the cells in our brain, we have to have fat. And if we don't get enough good fat, our body's going to crave bad fat, which going to crave any fat, which most often is bad fat that comes from our diet that can be really pro-inflammatory. The beautiful thing about fish oil specifically is it's extremely anti-inflammatory, and it's really important. You know, cod liver oil is something that all our grandmothers used to give us, and there was some wisdom in that. But when we look at something like fish oil, I really want to see a fish oil that's got a good amount of something called EPA, and the EPA amount, and you don't need to know the long term for it, but the EPA amount is the anti-inflammatory part of this oil, and it's much, much higher in fish that are small and tiny, like anchovies and mackerel. And that's why I love Pro Omega 1000, because number one, it uses these smaller fish.
Yep.
And that's really important, even from a toxin perspective, right? So like big fish like cod have a lot of toxins. There's no toxins in these little anchovies and mackerels and stuff. And then the amount of the active ingredients is so important, because you can get fish oil on the market that has, it looks like there's a lot of omegas in it, but it doesn't have that really concentrated form of EPA and the other component, which is DHA, which are the medicinal value, the whole medicinal value of fish oil, and why I think it's so sexy.
So, and the thing is, for me, I mean, I think a really key point is you do get what you pay for in fish oil. And just a little supplement formulator education for you guys is that how many of you guys have taken fish oil and burped fishy, right? Mm-hmm. I want you guys to know that if you take fish oil, especially at the dosing we're talking about, that you need to be anti-inflammatory and you've burped fish, it means that it is rancid. Fish oil can go rancid really rapidly, number one. Number two, the type of fish and where it's fished from really matters. The reason is the dose we need it at. So we're looking at dosing here of about 3,000 to 4,000 milligrams a day and really high in EPA. That's a lot. It takes a lot of fish to get that amount of fish oil. So whatever, those of you who said toxin was a problem for you, talk about toxin accumulation if you don't get it from the right fish, from the right location, right? So it's really important to get these tiny little fish from really cold waters with little to no contamination, and it's tested in small batches to make sure we don't have things like mercury. We don't have things like some of the pesticides that are really high in some of these other fish oils that are in there. So I just wanted you guys to understand supplementation. There are some things that really where brand or the quality and the quantity is really important, right? So what I want to do is, if you guys want to learn, I have a pain protocol where I go have a list of supplementation that helps. If you want the pain protocol, type pain protocol in chat. I'm going to see if we can get somebody to get you the link to get a download of it. And then I want to share with you guys too, like when you guys go over here, I want to help you shop smarter, meaning that you go to mymdshop.com, okay? And you go to shop right here, look at all the health focus that it has. So if someone has a lot of migraines, should they go to brain health? They could. Could they go to pain and movement? Yes. So as an example, going to the pain movement, right? I just wanted to share with you guys right here, right? And there's a link to download the pain protocol here as well. So I think we could go ahead and copy that and share it and chat with you guys so you guys can head over there. I'm doing this in real time, everybody. Here you go. Now, when I look over here, these are some of my favorite supplementation for pain. And we already mentioned how fish oil is really awesome, right? And dosing is really important. So going back to the other slide that we had talked about, we want Pro Omega 1000 here at 3,000 to 4,000 milligrams a day if you're dealing with a chronic pain issue. So no joke, we want, and I named it this way. I love naming supplements. So Pro Omega 1000, each capsule is 1,000, and that's a ton. So it's really easy to know, I'm going to get 3,000 to 4,000 a day. That's going to be 3 tablets or 4 tablets. And those of you who've used it, right? Type in chat, what has your response been? Because I can tell you right now, I tried, like, trust me, I mean, I've been in practice 27 years. I have people bringing me the Costco bottles of fish oil and all that. Hey, if it worked, I'm all for it, right? I don't see the reduction in pain. I don't see the reduction in cardiovascular, like cholesterol and all those things. I just don't. So I don't like spending money on things that don't work. So I just want to make sure you guys got some education around the Pro Omega 1000 and what the dosing is, and you really want a product that's really high in EPA. If you learned something in that, type in chat. And Annie, is there a vegan alternative? Vegan alternatives would be things that contain mostly DHA and not as much EPA. And there are brands on the market for it, but the problem is their capsules and their price. You have to take a lot of those vegan source of DHA EPA to get the 3,000 to 4,000. So yes, there are vegan alternatives. You can search them on Amazon. Do find a good brand, but just know that you're gonna have to take a lot of them. So we're talking like sometimes 10 to 20 pills a day to get that 3,000 to 4,000 milligrams of EPA. If that makes sense, right? And then I saw another great question. We're gonna talk about digested, Chrissy. I'm jumping right there. Okay, let's talk digested. Okay, so everybody, okay, digested, like if nothing else, like look at the QR code on the right and look at digested, okay? You're like, I don't know what problem I have in digestion. Well, you will if you work in any of our programs, okay? I'm just gonna tell you that. So I would say if you're going through all this hell and you're like, I wanted to figure out the digestion piece and the food allergy piece, my food mapping masterclass is the go-to. And those of you who've been in my food mapping masterclass and have experienced the digestion breakdown, food allergies, and playing full out with us, type in chat so far, what has been your outcome? Like what results have you gotten so far in it? So one of the things I tell people is, hey, if you don't want to learn about digestion, right? Some people are like, just tell me what to take. I'm here, okay? Digested covers every single step in digestion that could be broken, every step. And so the problem with digestive supplements out there is too many ingredients. Too many ingredients. And so when you try to cover every step in digestion, most products out there that covers every step has at least 30 plus ingredients. And then how many of you have histamine and food allergy problems anyway, or allergy or tolerability to supplements or medication? How many of you have that? How many of you have trouble tolerating supplements or medication? Type in chat, right? So then you take a supplement that's supposed to help with digestion to help solve this problem, and it has 30 to 50 ingredients. Does that help? So tolerability was a big problem. So I formulated Digested for my mast cell histamine and his audience and people who can't tolerate supplements, right? Rachel, I see it, right? So this has minimal number of ingredients and yet covers every single step in digestion. Those of you with low stomach acid who are on PPIs, like medications for proton pump inhibitor, I think somebody I saw said, how do I get it off of it? Those of you who already know you have some digestion problems or who don't have a gallbladder, this is how you start. So write this down. I want you to get this, take 1 with small meals and 2 with big meals. And people will say, oh, do I take it once a day, twice a day? So I'm going to ask you a question. How often do you need help with your digestion? How many, right? So, and Jill said Digested works. I know, and Jill, type in chat, how did it work for you? And Chrissy, super smart, all freaking day. So I will tell you, every time I teach about digestion in a setting like this, and then we talk to someone later, they will say something like, oh, my digestion was slightly better, but not completely. And then I find out, how often are you taking it? Oh, I took it once a day. Well, you need to digest it every time you have to digest food. So remember, I love naming supplements. I love naming it, digest it. When do you need help digesting it? Every time. So just digest it, right? And Jill said it fixed her gastroparesis and she's now off her proton pump inhibitors medications like Prilosec, Nexium, right? So you have to start by supporting your digestion first. This is really important, okay? So write this down. Start with a digested, 1 with small meals, 2 with big meals, every time you eat a small meal or a big meal. Humor my ass, take it, right? and see what happens, because your response to that supplement also tells you a lot and tells us a lot. Those of you working with us, you know, we troubleshoot digestion like it's a fine-tuned violin. Okay. And then Dawn says, will digestic cause heartburn because of stomach acid? Again, here's the thing. 99 to 100% of you are here because you have a lot of pain, right? And so of the population of people that are in a lot of pain or have a lot of inflammation symptoms, the likelihood they have low stomach acid, they actually did a study. Just so you guys know, they did a study with autoimmune disease. It was a bunch of people. It was like hundreds of people, or even over 1,000 people with rheumatoid arthritis, really high pain. And they actually tested the level of stomach acid they have. What percentage of those people do you think in that study actually had not just normal, but low stomach acid? Type in chat. Does anyone know? Dr. Jason, I know you know, right? Yeah, it was, oh God, who said 90%? 90%. Oh my God, Patricia. I love it. Stephanie, right? Stephanie, you're not even in my programs. You must be hearing me on social. 90% of those people in the study. So here's the thing. The vast majority of people with the symptoms you and I have low stomach acid. Okay. So if you take digested, go ahead. If you take digested, what you find is that most people, almost like I would say 99% of people, don't get heartburn because they took something that has acid in it, because they have such low amount of stomach acid, right? Just so you know. So even if you have heartburn, and especially if you have heartburn, taking something that helps digestion actually can help the situation rather than cause it. Is there a tiny percentage of people that that have normal or really high stomach acid? Yeah, but not the people we're talking about here. Very rare. And if you did get some heartburn when you initially started it, that's okay, because we also have another product called Digested Chewable. And Digested Chewable has all the other supports for digestion, but it doesn't have any stomach acid. So I would say 90% of people are on Digested Regular, and 10% are on Digested Chewable, which doesn't contain any stomach acid, just so you guys know. But this is a whole giant program that we teach about digestion. So I don't want to focus too much or too in depth with it. Dr. J, you're about to say something.
No, I was just thinking about the absurdity of PPIs real fast. First of all, there's a time and a place
What's
for
PPIs?
Proton pump inhibitors that reduce stomach acid.
Such as Prilosec, Nexium, over-the-counter Zantac. Okay.
Yeah, over the counters, Meprozols. Yeah. So the thing that's absurd to me is the PPIs, these drugs, actually slow down gallbladder motility or movement. So they actually reduce the gallbladder function. Now we're creating a gallbladder situation. So we yank the gallbladder and then just increase PPIs, and we're really destroying two very critical aspects of digestion in everyday medical practice. And it's almost criminal to me.
Yeah, and I agree with you, is that a lot of the reasons too, I see people who do have chronic pain have had the gallbladder removed and have been on chronic PPI types medications for a long period of time. Because I'll tell you right now, if we did a survey right now, I wish we could do a poll. But if we did a poll right now and say how many of you within the last 10 years have been put on one of these medications or have been taking one of these medications, it's astronomically high for people in the autoimmune population or pain population, just so you guys know. So this is a huge thing, right? And Jill says PPIs for 25 years and family history of gallbladder problems, right? And Donna says she's on the medication now but want to get off it. Right. This is why it's important to work with us to help troubleshoot these problems. Digestion is not easy. Digestion is not easy. I'm telling you one thing to get started with that, for 99% of people, it's going to be already helping. But we spend an entire course and we spend weeks helping people perfect that process. Kathy, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I'm just noticing some comments about, oh, does this mean I can go off my medication and things like that? And we're not advocating for anybody to go off their medications without any kind of supervision.
There's absurdity of that. And I'm going to explain why. So everybody wants to get off medication, and I want you off it too, right? But there is an order and there's a time for every single thing. And it is not safe, and it would be totally unwise for someone to say, because I decided I don't want to be on medication anymore, I'm going to stop it. There's a reason you need that medication, right? So would it make more sense? I'm going to ask you guys, would it make more sense or less sense medically, whatever the medical problem is, for you to have worked with us to balance the hormones or remove the food allergens or to optimize the digestion first, as those issues are addressed? Would it make it more easy, more successful, and safe for you then to start lowering your medications at that time? Right? Does that make scientific sense? I want you guys smarter. I want you to do things smarter, okay? Because I guarantee you, if someone just decided right now at this moment, I've been on PPIs for 20 years without addressing and learning all about digestion and troubleshooting or getting my food allergies removed, I'm going to just stop that medication because I took digested. I guarantee you're going to be not successful, right? Right? So we got to start with first starting to support the digestion, but also learning about digestion in a very in-depth way, or troubleshooting people who have. So then you know exactly how to fix the digestion, optimize it. Second thing of order is remove the food allergens, get rid of those histamines, and then you're going to be able to get off or lower the dose or get off some of these medications. That's what Jill did. That's what Jill did. Okay, so it's important, like order really matters. Working with people who really know what the heck they're talking about and setting yourself up for success is really important. Does that make sense? Right? And Kristen says we can get bad withdrawals. Correct. People who've been on PPIs for like even just a couple months, when they stop it, they can actually get what's called like rebound acid reflux. And also people who've been on those medications for a long time, if they even take something that has a little bit of stomach acid, sometimes their stomach is so used to having no stomach acid, it goes, whoa! Even though it's good and it's great, like when you first take it, when there's a no acid environment for years, then you put even low stomach acid, your gut goes kind of like, I didn't like that. I'm not used to it. Who are you? Right? So I want you guys to understand, like, this is a big topic. It's not child's play. I don't play. Right? But I will say that it is a very easy first step. Number one is to take digested. And if you're really concerned and worried that I might get heartburn with it, first of all, even if you did, big whoop-de-doo, right? Right? Sometimes you don't know until you take it. But if you're really concerned about it, there is a product called Digested Chewable. And it's the same, one with small meals, two with big meals. It doesn't contain any stomach acid, but addresses all the other steps in digestion. So we have, in our digestion line, we have like 10 different products that we use to exactly fine tune the solution for each person, right? Yeah. Does that make sense, everybody? Great. Now, here's the thing. We talked a lot about digestion right now, but I want to tell you, we cannot address, like, I will say that when I look at pain, okay, when we're talking about pain and food, I will tell you that 50% of the pain is because of digestion and 50% of the pain is because of food allergies. Write that down. No one's going to tell you that because they don't know this. So listen to me. So don't think I'm just going to address digestion. It's going to remove all my pain. It would definitely help, right? Especially if you have it dialed in. But the other half of this is your food allergens, right? Remember, poor digestion makes more food allergens, right? You can fix digestion, right? But there are still foods that you truly have an allergy to that you are reactive to. And it's not 100 foods like your elimination diet tells you, maybe 3, might be 1. How many alumni here did the food mapping, right? Did our food mapping and figured out that, like, I would love for people who did the program, like my food mapping masterclass or main program, who did the food mapping process, to write down how many things did you find out you actually had a problem with? Because the number is usually way smaller than you think. But the problem is it's your doctors and your lack of knowledge around what those things are. So in describing food sensitivity and food allergies, I did a big training around that, right? Yeah, so Lisa had 4 foods. What were they, right? Someone just said dairy, like Joe. It's in our program right now, just dairy, Joe. Right? Charlene found out none. So Charlene found out that 100% of her symptoms relating to food was because of digestion and not even a food allergy. She didn't have to eliminate all those things. How about finding out none? Who wants to find out it's none? Right? That's the surprising result. I love this. Like Teresa said, it was arrowroot. Possibly, 2 things, 2. Paula, great. Oh, Paula, you're here. Oh, I miss you. I miss you. Paula says, I have problem with 3 things, gluten, dairy, and oregano. And Paula like nearly died of her ulcerative colitis when I met her like 5-6 years ago. And it was oregano, right? Who would think it was your oregano? How many people are Italians here and love your oregano, right? What if it was just oregano? Like, how helpful would that be, right? And then like, right? Paula's like, who knew? Paula, I'm gonna have you, Paula, I'm gonna have you spotlighted. You made me cry I did the ugly cry a little bit, like on social the other day. And we've interviewed you and you've shared this story. So I wanted to actually have you show your, if you're cool with it, I would love to have you highlighted, because I wanted to share a little bit about your story with others and why it moved me so much. Like, I talk about how, like, I love learning like this, right? And the reason is you're not memorizing. This is what we do in all our programs. Hello. And you're not memorizing. And what we're doing here is what I call learning through experience and stories. Like, you may not memorize the dose of omega-3s, right, that we talked about, but you won't forget a story like Paula's, for example, and what the lesson in it is. And Paula, I mean, do you mind if I share the story about how, like, this is how many years ago did you do the program, Paula?
It was 2020.
Okay, and you had no idea you're being pulled up. I know, I'm sorry.
I know, I just, yeah.
My question, like, the reason, like, 2020 has been 4 years since she did the program, and she came in, and I recall one of the worst, like, ulcerative colitis flares you've ever had, almost died.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
Tom had passed away how long before that?
It's just about 7 months before that.
Jeez. And so I remember talking, and this is when I did the call on video to talk about whether you were going to be evaluating whether she was going to be a good fit for a program. And I remember that she had said that when Tom died, he had left some money for you, and you said, like, because we're talking about sometimes people feeling guilty investing in their own health. And you nearly died, literally, like, I don't know, a month before in the hospital. Yeah. And I remember talking to you, and I said, like, and we're making a decision of whether you're going to do the main program or not. And I asked, I don't know if I asked or you said, I said, what would Tom have wanted for you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he would have wanted me to go ahead and take care of myself. And I did, and I'm so grateful I did.
You woman, you made me do the ugly cry. And it's funny, not funny, but Kimberly the other day that we were talking to had a very similar story with that, which was, you know, like, it was, it's just interesting, like, for me, like, and I remember within like a very short time, like, one of your goals was, and you were worried about finances, and you were like, I'm not working because I was so sick, I almost died. And Tom had left me this amount, and I am going to invest in my health to get better. How quickly after that were you able to go back to work?
Oh my goodness. Well, this was like right when COVID hit too. So it was like, you know, I couldn't, you know, because things were shut down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went back to work probably about 3 or 4 weeks after that. You know, I mean, you're talking like whenever I got out of the hospital, because I spent a good, you know, 2-3 weeks in the hospital.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I remember you and Kathy both had sent me a food and what I needed to do for the next, you said for the next 3 weeks, I don't want you to do anything else but what we told you to do. No questions asked. We're sending you a video. Don't even write anything down. We're sending the video of our phone call, and just follow it to a T.
Because her brain fog was so bad. Your brain fog was so bad that
I could barely set up. I was setting up in a recliner, and I could barely even set up in the chair.
I know.
And it's like, I just remember getting that. And I tell you, every once in a while, I will pull that video up and look at it and go, I just can't even get over that that's me in that video. I just can't even. And it's just like, I'll never forget. You and Kathy will always be a huge part of my life for that. I mean, you are my life, because it's like I wouldn't have one right now if it wasn't. Because if I would have listened to what the doctor said, I don't know where I'd be. I really, really don't. No, I'm forever grateful.
And back to why I pulled you up was, You know, with ulcerative colitis near death, people would go on an elimination diet and eliminate probably 50-60% of their diet with brain fog and nearly alive. And how many things did you have to remove? What were the things you had to remove?
Gluten, dairy, and oregano.
Oregano, lady.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Ladies and gentlemen, would you want to find out that just 3 things like gluten, dairy, and oregano, and maybe for you it's gonna be broccoli, beef, and sesame beef. Would you like to know how many of you out there with the pain level, not even life-threatening level of pain or near death like Paula, how many of you would want to know what 3 things those things are? Who wants to know your 3 things? Type in chat, my 3 things. Like, or I want to know, type it in chat. So Paula, I just thank you, my friend. I'm just so happy for you, and thank you for allowing me to share your story.
yeah, no problem.
You know what it is you won't remember the 3,000 milligrams of omega-3 every day, but you never forget the way people make you feel and their stories, right? So Paula's story always reminds me of just how simple sometimes it could be, right? It could be 3 things, right? Number 1. And number 2, how important it was for her to make the decision to help herself, to interrupt the pattern. Because within 3-4 weeks, she was at work, back at work from near-death experience. How much is it worth to you? Like, what is it worth to you financially and emotionally to get relief from your symptoms? What is it worth to you? I'm curious. What is it worth to you emotionally and financially? Like, what is it, what are you, you know, what's the worth to you of your freedom from the pain? Let's just talk about pain, right? Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't even pay attention to comments. Were there any comments? Yeah, Lisa Carpenter wanted to know my 3 things. So I wanted to make sure you guys know that about my food mapping masterclass. We have a program specifically for food, right? So if you know it's digestion, you know it's food allergies, we have my food mapping masterclass. I will share, do I have a link to that? Hold on one second. Oh, okay. I love visuals, okay? So yes, for me and for everybody else, let's look at the visual really quickly. Okay, just wanted to go over with you what my food mapping masterclass is. I love to call it the one and done in 6 weeks. Okay, so like Paula's back at work in 3 weeks. Okay, how would you like to be one and done with all the food issues, digestion issues in 6 weeks? So number 1, when you I just want you guys to be clear what it is we do in this program. Number 1 is we send out a food test kit, which is really important. It's the most accurate food testing on the planet. Like literally, I've sampled about 68 of those tests. And I've done about, at this point, about 8,000 of these tests. So it's important to get the most accurate food testing because a lot of the food sensitivity testing suck. Cross my heart, because so many people who did our program did those tests. Okay. And I have a training around food sensitivity testing, like versus food mapping system. So number 1, you get the test kit sent out to you immediately. Number 2, we educate you on a master's level trainings on what are the steps in digestion, how to identify the symptoms, what is wrong with you. Well, how about your 3 things wrong with your digestion? So we're going to show you that, teach you that, and then how to fix it. And then you're going to get your results after you send the test kit in like 2 weeks later. And then there's going to be all this treasure trove of trainings around what's the role of genetics? How does this impact your kids? Like how much of this is hereditary? How much of digestion is hereditary? How to accurately understand the results 100% so you don't have some test result that shows 100 foods that you're allergic to that aren't real. So how do you know what's the true positive, what really applies to you, so you don't have to waste your time, your energy, your money, eliminating 100 foods. So how do you accurately evaluate? Some of you can have vaccines that cause reactions that give you false results. So how do you tell a difference, right? And then who said they had leaky gut, right? Are there patterns in the test that shows you, am I dealing with this and how do I fix it, right? And then you pick a live review week to play with us like this with Dr. Jason, Kathy, myself. How many of you guys have done the food mapping program? Type in chat. Tell us what that review week was like for you. We just finished a group, and I think Charlene was part of that group. A couple of you here are part of that group. We just finished a live review week. And during that week, there is 2 calls with our medical team like this, where we get to individually troubleshoot you guys in a small group. And then you're learning from each other's stories and troubleshooting. How many of you learned something from Paula's story? Right? Type in chat. Right? So you not only learn from your questions, your results, your patterns, your root causes, your implementation, but you get to hear it in other people because you never forget the way other people's made you feel. So during those medical team sessions, that happens. And then there's also a one-on-one call with our functional nutritionists, where we go over specific dietary questions that a lot of you may have, right? A lot of people have trouble removing food, but a lot of people we work with are reintroducing and adding food back in without fear while getting better, right? So this is a way out of pain, especially for those of you where, you know, it's digestion is food. All of you who have pain, I would say a major issue for you guys is food sensitivities, right? And we touch on hormones a little bit. I mean, and I know we're an hour and a half in, right? Are we an hour and a half in? Time flies when you're having fun. How many of you guys, and there's a link for food mapping. If you guys are interested in it, you can just go ahead, click that link. You can enroll in the food mapping program. The food mapping program also has payment plans on it and a pay over time option. So make sure if you're looking at going to that link, there's an ability to have payment plans on it. There's also, like, if you want to pay over time with a firm, click that link and it can spread out those payments over time as well, right? Lori says training community programs are all empowering. So invaluable to get your quality of life back. I'm glad I did this program. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, right? Yeah. I was grateful to see, Charlene says, I was grateful to see food mapping results show no foods out sensitivities, and then it end up being a major histamine issue. Now, how effective is Charlene going to be in addressing those histamine issues? I'm going to ask Charlene to update our Facebook group and our community on her progress, because she found out she had no food allergies and it was all digestion and histamine related. Boom. How's that? Those of you who said you were searching for a diagnosis, how good is that? And I don't know who's sharing their screen right now. Okay. Perfect. All right. So what I'm going to say is this, a couple things, which is that I could end right here now and say, hey, if you're thinking about food allergies, food digestion, and if you're dealing with a lot of issues with POTS, these autoimmune issues, major other health issues, and you want to learn more, you want to work with us, because I just talked about food mapping, but we have all these other programs. We have a whole program for hormone problems, and hormones and pain is a huge connection. And I am actually, like, if you guys, I'm curious, I'm going to ask a question. How many of you would be interested if I did a live workshop? Well, by the way, first of all, what did you guys think of a live workshop format like this, where you're able to ask questions and share and see real cases? Well, give me some feedback on it. What did you think? Because this is different than being on a live, right? On social media, on YouTube. I get to actually see and interact with you guys. What do you guys think? Great opportunity. You like it? Yes. Really helpful. Yeah. Charlene. And then I'm just gonna share this on the screen really quickly. Yeah. And so I wanted to cover hormones and other things too, but I don't want to keep you guys over 90 minutes here, right? And did the time fly by or did it not, right? So what I would like to do, and Kathy or Jason, if you had anything I forgot to jump in, if you are thinking about, should I do the food program? Should I do the hormone program? Should I do the whole transform program? Or I don't even know about any of the programs. I just want to know if I can get help. Can you help me? Then what you want to do is just scan this code and book a chat with our team. So you can be talking with Martha on our team. Some of you are going to be talking with Kathy. You can book a chat to talk with us directly, and we will be talking with you to do an evaluation to see, hey, is this something we can help with, right? Lisa Carpenter, who said, I want to know my 3 things. Sure. How about by next week? Right? Right? It can happen that quickly. I remember, I don't know who we were talking to. It might have been, I can't remember, but last week we were talking to someone and they said, how do you do all this? We're talking about our main program. And someone said, wow, how do you do all these pieces of your main program where it covers every single thing? And I said, well, we do it all in 2 months. She's like, what? And I was like, so the question I have for you is, do you want to get better in 2 years or do you want to get better in 2 months? Mm-hmm. What's more valuable? right? So there's a lot that we do in our main program, for example, that we compress time. I don't want to make this happen for you in 2 years. I'd rather make this happen for people in 2 months in our main program. So, you know, and like Paula said, within 3-4 weeks, she went from dying in the hospital to being out and back to work again. And someone else was talking about their pain within 2 weeks, going from like a 9 to a 2 on a bad day. Kathy?
Oh, I just wanted to answer a question that someone popped in the chat there. Can I just do the testing? And I want to say that that's missing the whole point. It really is. It's missing the whole point because this is not a food sensitivity program. This is a food mapping program, which is very different and encompasses digestion and all of these other pieces that we talked about tonight. So, not to mention, just getting a test, you wouldn't understand your results anyways. You wouldn't know how to read them. So it is a part of what we do, the food sensitivity test, but it is not the program. So, yeah.
Yeah, and for me, like in Charlene's case is actually a really great example of this. Is that, and Charlene, I might have you unmute and be highlighted if she's still here. I don't know if Charlene's here. You guys don't know I'm going to be pulling you up, did you? But Charlene's case is a classic example. But some of you who are also on PPIs and says, I've been on it for 20 years. How do I solve this problem? Charlene, thank you. Yeah, before you went into the food mapping program, what was your suspicion that this was all related to food allergies or food sensitivities for you with all the symptoms? Because I know Charlene, she has like at least 10 diagnoses of which 5 of them are autoimmune. Right? And so Charlene, what was yours when you came to the food mapping program? Of course, like most people, you just think I needed a food allergy test. So what was your expectation that it was going to be some food allergies and you were going to have to remove a whole lot of food?
Well, basically, everything started to progress. I started eating certain foods, and then I couldn't eat them again. You know, be a certain amount of time, and then I'd switch it back, and then I would get a reaction to it. So that's mainly why.
She's reacting all the time.
Yeah, constantly. Plus, I have environmental issues too, so that plays another part. Plus the lupus, everything was just combating me in a major flare up. So with the food itself, that was the problem. Too many things not correlating on a steady.
Right, confusion.
That and everything, yeah.
How can you, like, could you ever solve her case when you're talking about environmental allergens, food reactions, no matter what she ate, multiple autoimmune issues, multiple pain issues, brain fog, right? And multiple doctors and tests all over the planet, right? Would her just saying, I'm going to order this test or that test, would that have solved this problem, Charlene?
No, and I've had the lupus autoimmune for over 20 years. So I didn't go the regular, get this test, get that test. I just wanted to make sure what the inflammation was what was that caused by. When I found that out, I'm like, I'm not on no medication. I'm not taking this. I'm going to do it through my diet. So I was able to maintain that for a very, very long time. And I just had a major crash this past 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah.
So, that's.
But the reason she had a major crash 4 or 5 months ago is not because some crazy new food allergy showed up. She thought it was. But what was the reality?
I knew it was already histamines and adrenals because I was already on support.
Caused by digestion issues.
Yeah.
Digestion, which then impacts on blood sugar.
Yes. And I go back to when I was very young. I always had like that butterfly nervous feeling in my stomach.
Yeah.
And I just remember, and I just keep going, and I keep thinking, man, I always had a nervous stomach. I always had to eat. And, you know, and then through the years, once this hit me, it was then with the lupus and then the food part of it. It all started to come together as far as low gut, low.
Yeah. I have a question. I have a question for you. How critical was it for you to have gone through the whole process to tease it all out to know it's not food allergies?
That was huge.
Right?
That was huge.
In fact, and what's the underlying cause of your histamine problem was her?
Low acid.
Digestion and low acid.
Digestion, yes.
Boom.
Yeah, and a right probiotic.
Boom. And how quickly is she going to get outcomes? We just did her review last week, just so you guys know. Yeah. So I would love you update everybody, but people see results within weeks. So Charlene, thank you for your sharing this, but she's a perfect example.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She's a perfect example of a case that where focusing on just getting a test would be the wrong way to go. This is a complex issue with which you need to know which part is because of this, which part is because of that, and that, and that. I'm calling it like the whack-a-mole. And the other thing too is a lot of people assume they think they know the answer. She assumed, and all of us would, like, oh, I'm reacting to every food I ate, that it's going to be a food allergy. And it's not. It's actually something she would have never knew, never figured out, no matter who else on the planet she works with. You know why? Nobody has a system that teaches people with your data to say, oh no, it's actually your digestion, and which part of digestion it is. Oh, it's actually a food allergy. Which one is it? And it's actually all these you can reintroduce. Oh, wow. Right? So this is really important to be able to take a case like Charlene's, which seems impossible to solve, to be completely easy to solve. That was not a hard case. Charlene's case to me, and I love rating things in numbers, on a scale, if you knew all her symptoms and stuff, you'd probably be saying she's a 10 out of 10. And Charlene would probably rate herself 10 out of 10 before the program. I would look at her multiple autoimmune diagnoses and her symptoms, and I would say she's like a level 3 problem for me to solve. And the reason she's a level 3 is because also, not only is there an order with which you can eliminate some of these other issues and know exactly what it is to pinpoint, but it's her coachability. I love that she's so open to the idea that, oh no, it's not just about this one thing. It's about how all these pieces are tied in together. You always want somebody to go to root causes. You always know you want somebody to make all the connections. So don't you start thinking it's about one supplement, one medication, or one test, right? Don't nickel and dime yourself into that. It's that one thing. Think bigger and ask better and better questions if there's nothing else that I can leave you with, right? I just want to share my screen because I promised you guys a free book. I want to gift you guys the book. Right over here is the QR code for you guys, and I'll have them put the link in chat as well. For everybody that attended this today, I would love for you guys, we launched my book, which is 8 years in the making. We launched my book about a month ago, and it has hit 7 categories internationally as a bestseller on Amazon. So, so I would say go for it. And we just got Amazon to drop the price on it too as a special, just so you guys know. It took us a month to do it. But on this link here, you can get a free book. So go ahead and you can click the link in chat, or you could use that QR code. And I would love to gift you all a copy of my book, with which, by the way, I went into a lot more depth about digestion, a lot more case studies in digestion. So you can always read it. Those of you who like to read, I want you to know that that you can go ahead and read it in the book. And then I just finished recording the audiobook for it literally 2 hours before this this call. So within a matter of a couple of weeks, it will be good. It's going to be available on audiobooks as well on Audible, just so you guys know. So FYI, that's coming too. So if you like to hear it, that's going to be available coming up at some point too. Kathy?
I just had a couple of direct messages sent my way. Someone is wondering, can they start these supplements without doing any testing?
Yeah, Digest is actually a great one to start. That's why I told you guys, the pain protocol has a bunch of supplements in it that I would say are some of my go-tos, right? And I really specialize in educating people about supplementation, but also having supplements that are effective with the lowest number of ingredients. So my thing is this: if you know for a fact that you're allergic to an ingredient in it, don't do it, right? But if you don't have any allergies to anything, everything on the pain protocol that I talk about is the minimum amount of ingredients that it takes to kick ass. Okay? So I would say, as a blanket, right? I'm going to say everybody can try Digestion. Everybody can try Digestion. Okay? Now, if you find you have a tolerability problem with it, then the second option is Digest It Chewable. But you don't know until you try it. And Digest It is our best selling supplement with the most amount of testimonials. We have about 100 testimonials on YouTube and Facebook from people who are sending us videos of what happened after they used it. And there's a reason for it. It works, right? And the Pro Omega 1000 is our second best selling supplement. And people rebuy it, reuse it, right? And there are supplements I didn't get to talk about because I don't want to run over here. But there's Pro Move. My favorite combination for someone in an acute pain flare is, I'm just going to share it, okay? stay for a little bit more if you want to. If you want to hear me talk about ProMove, my secret weapon for pain, because we get into pain flares and then we want to take medications like Advil and ibuprofen and prescriptions, right? This works. So ProMove, okay, if you guys want to stick around, I'm just give you a little bit bonus to this. ProMove is the strongest combination of highly available herbs. So we're taking the best in herbal medicine. Some of them are short acting and some of them are fast acting. So what they do is it's a great alternative to an NSAID, which is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, which would be things like ibuprofen, naproxen, even prescription NSAIDs. How many of you are on those medications, right? So if you're looking for an alternative or you're even looking to add to those medications because they're not working, this is great. So it has really high doses of medical grade turmeric. Boswellia is a huge and Dr. J is a naturopathic physician as well as chiropractic training. So he has, I'm sure, a ton to say about these ingredients. But I just wanted to have you see what it is there's also proteolytic, what we call proteolytic enzymes as well. So it literally breaks down inflammation at the source. So the key is the right dose at the right time, right? So I want to give you guys a secret weapon here. You can go up to 8 on ProMove. And you don't have to be on 8 for long, I promise. So if you're in a big pain flare, you can take like 4 in the morning, 4 at night, right? And as soon as the pain starts to go down to 6 a day, go down to 4 a day, go down to 2 a day, but just stop if it's better, right? ProMove is gold, okay? And I combine it with this next weapon, SPMX. The two works really well together because they work differently. So I take SPM Max. What SPM is literally a new breakthrough in pain as a molecule that was isolated from fish oil. So about 6-7 years ago, they were able to find what makes fish oil so anti-inflammatory, specifically for pain. Like fish oil does so many things. That's why Kathy thinks it's so sexy. But SPM is one of the final breakdown products of EPA as it breaks down. So if you take a big fish oil, only about 1% or 2% of it is SPM. So SPM in particular in high concentration in one of these capsules is a specialized pro-resolving mediators, and it resolves inflammation to promote tissue repair. So I think about them as Pac-Mans. Think about super special Pac-Mans, okay? The Pac-Mans will go super special Pac-Man, SPM. Oh my God, I just made that up. Sorry, I'm such a nerd. All right, so SPM, super special Pac-Mans. Okay, if you found that funny, please type funny in chat. So I'm not the only one laughing.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, man. All right, so you take the SPM, it's only 2 a day, and it sends Pac-Mans to your tissue, like to your ligaments and to the muscles, and eats up those inflammatory factors at the level, at those areas. So you take all these herbs and ProMove, and then you add SPM Max 2 a day. That's all it takes is 2 a day daily, and boom, is literally like miracle in a bottle for pain. And they're both part of our pain protocol. And I'll make sure we put the link again here for the pain protocol. But if you head over to the MYMD shop, there's the QR code that you just went to. Under the pain protocol, the health focus, there's the ability to download the pain protocol over there. So get it downloaded so you have a list so you don't have to memorize. But my go-to is ProMove and SPM Max as a killer combo for pain. Is that cool? Okay, I know that was a bit of extra time. Did you enjoy that? Okay, any questions? This class is awesome. Dr. Maggie's team is awesome too. I love it. Thank you. ProMove and SPM Max are the bomb. Cynthia, yeah. And I know what Cynthia deals with when we're dealing with autoimmune diseases that causes a lot of joint pain. How many people are taking steroids or prednisone and all that? How much better would it be to take herbs and SPM Max, you know? And seriously, if your pain is under control, you may not even need to be on them, but how about like 1 or 2 of those a day just for maintenance versus steroids or one of your, other methotrexate or something instead. There are things you can do instead, right? Or you can add it on top of medication, right? As you address these root causes, right? Darlene, you love tonight. Charlene, the SPM Max. Cool. All right, everybody. Emma Fleming, ProMove and SPM, Emma, for you, SPM Max are holy grail for pain. I agree with you on that for me. So that was my secret combo right there. All right, I would love for you guys to type in chat what's one action step that you're going to take tonight. Okay, what is one action step you're going to take away? Because I have loved, I mean, and Kathy and Jason, I'm going to have you guys have some parting words. I have loved being able to share this hour and a half with you. We're almost at 2 hours. It flew by. It literally felt like 30 minutes for me. And it sounds to me like you guys thought this was a great format. If it is, you guys enjoyed it, I'm going to do more. I mean, I could do the role of hormones and other things in pain. We didn't even get to, we touched on it with the histamines, but I wasn't able to do a deep dive and do individual case studies like this. Right? Someone said, chew my food, Lauren, totally, right? Start fixing digestion, Shelly, boom, 100%, right? And Don, I love all your emojis. Love it. Thank you so much. And Emma, this was fun. And then Chrissy said, place my supplement order with what I'm guessing I should start. Well, download the pain protocol and you don't have to guess. All right, we'll do that. I love it. All right, everybody. That's a wrap from me, Kathy, Jason. Kathy, what's your big takeaway? Or Jason, you could go.
Oh, I'm going to repeat what I said because someone mentioned it in the chat. Just remember, your stomach does not have teeth, so chew your food really, really well. There you go. For those of you that missed it the other night.
I love it. I love it. I have 3 things that I want to say. First of all, a quote from Dr. Maggie. It's not simple, but it's easy. And I think that that's super, super strong right there. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's great. The second thing is, I'm going to double down on that. Chew your food and digest it. And the third thing is, fish oil is sexy.
Damn sexy. And we're going to take that to the bank, right? All right, everybody, that is a wrap. We're going to go out with some music and have a wonderful night. Let's have you guys unmute and say goodbye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Hey, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Trina. Bye, Donna. Bye, Chris. Bye, Lisa. Bye, Joyce. Joyce, thank you. Mwah.
Thanks for everything, guys.
Welcome. Bye, Wendy. Bye, Stacy.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Been a slice.
Hell yeah. All right, everybody. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night, everybody.